Hello there, it's Paul here and welcome everyone. Last video I did an update, but this video is really more to do with a safety option that I've actually just come across due to the issue I had when I first came in the shed. When I first came in the shed beginning of this year, I found that I got bottles on the floor and all sorts just fallen all over the place, and it wasn't until I actually had a little bit of a clear up. One of the bottles that had fallen on the floor, which was my shallow wax polish, the actual bottom had bowed out where the whole bottle had expanded under the heat in the shed. I also found a few other things while I was doing the tidy up. My sanding discs that I made up for myself, they had a block on the back for mounting on the lathe, and that was just held on with hot glue, and again, because of the heat in the shed, both of those had fallen off. So I went up on my shelf to where I've actually got a nice big pile of hot glue sticks, and then I noticed the next casualty. Due to the heat, and as you can see from the picture, all the ends of those glue sticks have actually just tipped over under gravity. I initially thought it was just down to heat of the summer with the shed being fully insulated, but what really took me away from this was then when I looked at my radiator. I have an oil-filled radiator in the shed, and to stop any moisture being created in the shed so that my tools, lathe, etc. don't all go rusty, I usually always have that on the minimum thermostat setting, so it's always on. And when I looked at the radiator, you can see where the actual top of the inside of the radiator, which is where the heat comes from, is all rather black. So I think the cause of my problem was that could possibly be the dust in the shed, but somewhere along the line the thermostat failed and the radiator just went on to maximum heat. Fortunately, it's obviously not gone hot enough to actually start a fire. Now, the reason I didn't find this to start with was because when I came back in the shed, radiator's working actually fine, and it's on now and it's still working fine. I turn the thermostat down when I go out, so it's on minimum. It's cold in here. When I came in here, it was about 15 degrees. I've just turned the thermostat up, and over probably the last half hour, it's now gone up to around about 20 degrees again. Again, I'll show a picture on the front of the radiator so you can just see the controls there. So I've got the timer at the bottom, the controls for whether I want it on low or high power for the radiator in the middle, and then the thermostat at the top. Now, I had an idea the other day of really putting a sort of second level of safety in here, which is really what this video is all about. And I thought, well, why not have like a backup thermostat control? So I got thinking on the best way of doing this. I mean, do I buy like a bit like you do with your household heating thermostat? If you've ever looked at them properly, they have all open air vents around the side of the thing, so that at least you get the airflow in there. The downfall on that I see again was that I've got dust getting into another thermostat. I then wondered whether there was actually some form of a thermostat you can buy with a socket. So I did a search on eBay and came up with one. And at the same time as well, it also got an external probe. So that meant the unit was sealed and the temperature was then being done from the probe. This is what I've bought. It's cost me, I think, about £12–13 off eBay. Delivery was about 2 or 3 days, so it's pretty quick as well, free delivery. As you'll probably see from the pictures as well, that socket is actually literally almost above where I have the radiator. So that's going to be picking up a fair bit of heat to start with. Again, there's another reason for the probe, because I've actually got the probe then hanging up probably a good 2–3 foot away from the radiator, so it means it's picking up more of a general temperature what the shed is. Now, this particular socket, it actually has several programs on it. I've not figured them all out yet, but I'm not really too bothered about a lot of them anyway, because the main thing I want on here is to set a maximum temperature. I think I've got it set to about 25 degrees at the minute, so the idea is when that probe gets to 25 degrees, it's going to just switch off the radiator. So the good thing is it acts as, like I say, an extra security backup there. Now, I know the other programs on there are all based on timers. I think there's one where you can specify how long you want it on for and then how long you want it off for, and it just keeps going around in a cycle like that. So hopefully this is just giving you something to think about. Most people won't have heating on in the shed when they're not in there. Hopefully the video has been something to think about, and thanks a lot for watching.